Alright, now we have this mast that's attached to the ceiling, and we want to determine the tension in each rope. So first, let's begin with an explicit free body diagram, always. So I have T1, and here I have T2, and here I have the force of gravity pointing downwards. So I have T1 pointing at an angle, and this is how I'm going to actually set up the horizontal and vertical components. So this is going to be T1 with a little x here, and this is going to be T1 with a little y here, and our angle is 60 degrees. Now the problem with this question is I'm not going to be able to just put in numbers right away and have a solution fall out. The physics is straightforward. So vertically, I'm going to say that T1y minus Fg equals 0. And horizontally, I'm going to say T2 minus T1x equals 0. And now I'm going to actually go to vector components here. So one thing I want to make a note of is that T1x is going to be T1 times the cosine of 60. So T1x ends up being 0.5 times T1. Similarly, T1y is going to equal T1 times the sine of 60. And when I get that number, that's T1y equals 0.87 times T1. And those are the numbers I'm going to use in this formula here. One other thing, let's just be clear. The force of gravity acting on this mass is m times g, which is 100 newtons. So I have 0.87 T1 minus 100 equals 0. So it looks like I can solve directly. So here I have T1 is going to equal 100 divided by 0.87. And that's going to give me about 115 newtons. So let me just double check that. Yep. And now I can solve for T2. So T2 minus, and T1x is 0.5 T1. And that equals 0. So I'm going to say T2 equals half of 115. And so that's going to get me that T2 equals about 57 newtons. Alright, so that's it for the practice test 1. Now, in another set of videos, I am going to do the challenge problems for people that were interested, but I'm really not going to be putting that level of complexity on the test. Those are just good problems to know if you're thinking about looking at the HL physics or the SL physics or an AP physics class down the road, or if you're just personally curious.